Parker suggested that I make this video, so if you don't like it, blame him. If you do like it, credit to him. I'm going to be ranking all of the Sixers teams that I remember. So I'll just show you. Here's the teams that we're working with. I started with 2018, which is the 2018-2019 season, because NBA years they cross over New Year's. But this is the season started in 2018. So like the last one, 2024. This season started in 2024. You get it. I started with 2018-2019 season because I think that's when my Sixers awareness was more fully developed, you could say. I was aware of what was going on probably post Ben Simmons being drafted number 1, so that'd be 2016. But I think that the 2018-2019 season was when I was more fully aware of the Sixers season going on as it went. So that's what I chose to start with. So deal with it. So with this amazing graphic that I've created here, I'm gonna be ranking these past 7 teams that the Sixers have put together in my experience rooting for the Sixers. So start off 2018-2019. First thing for me that sticks out is the Tobias Harris trade when they acquired him from the Clippers, because that is the first Sixers transaction in season that I remember experiencing and reacting to. And I did not know who Tobias Harris was, but Parker explained to me. We were in, I think this was freshman year of high school for us, I believe. They traded for him February 2019. Yeah, I think we were freshmen in high school. So we were, yes, we were, because we were about to start the podcast. That's crazy. All Philly All the Time started probably 3 or 4 months after the Sixers made the Tobias Harris trade. Anyway, that's a detour we didn't need to go on. Sixers had a young core. They added J.J. Redick, Tobias Harris, Jimmy Butler. Suddenly they were contenders. And then, as we all know, the devastating Kawhi shot knocked them out in Game 7 of the Eastern Conference semifinals. But surely this team getting to Game 7 of the Eastern Conference semifinals and losing to the eventual champions meant that they would get past that point in the future. This was a great team, super fun to watch. Heartbreak at the end, but an absolutely electric Sixers team. These rankings are going to be subject to change as we go, but I think I'm going to put this at 2 right now, honestly, because this is a really great Sixers team, and it's a team that, even though Ben Simmons is on it, it's when we liked Ben Simmons, and it's a team that we look back on often as like what could have been, and it's the team that we fondly reminisce on as one of the more favorite teams, because other teams not live up to expectations, and we're getting there. Speaking of not living up to expectations, this right off the bat might be number 7 for me. Josh Richardson, Al Horford get added. They keep Tobias Harris. They let Jimmy Butler go. 0 for 3 on those decisions. None of those were good calls. So this team is rough, man. So I honestly, like I said, I might go 7. I'm looking at the other ones. I don't think there's one that I hate more than this one. This is the not hatred, but the strong disdain for Al Horford started here, where he always dominated the Sixers. Not necessarily dominated, but was always timely for his team, untimely for the Sixers. Just an annoyance of a really good player. We got him. Great. He's with us now. He can't hurt us anymore. Oh, he did. He hurt us from the inside. Al Horford was not good. In retrospect, it didn't make a ton of sense to have Al Horford, Joel Embiid, and Ben Simmons on the same team as starters. But anyway, the more I talk about this, the more I'm remembering how annoying this team was, because everyone was super hype in this offseason of adding Al Horford. Josh Richardson was like a cool addition because you didn't fully lose Jimmy Butler for nothing. It was like, hey, we lost Jimmy Butler, but Josh Richardson, at least we got something of value back. Terrible move. Terrible move. Josh Richardson was not a good consolation prize, and Jimmy Butler was great, as we all know, with the Miami Heat. So putting this team at 7, they were a very, very frustrating team. Did not enjoy them one bit. Next, we have 2020. Oh, I forgot. I took notes on these to make sure I got my stuff right. I talked about the 2018 moves. 2019, this is the season that ended in 2020 in the bubble. This team got swept by the Celtics. It was just, a series that was over before it even started. I don't think they played very well in the bubble before the playoffs, and it was not good. So then, after the bubble, we go into the 2020-2021 season, which was also weird because even though they were back playing in courts like normal, this is when guys were still testing positive for COVID, and it was a shortened season, and this season was also weird. Adding Seth Curry, one of the more fun transactions that the Sixers have had. Love Seth Curry still. Watching him play on the Sixers was a treat. Also added Danny Green. The three-point shooting was fantastic. Also, they hired Doc Rivers this year. So this was it. The hype from the previous offseason was not lived up to at all. The hype from this offseason was lived up to. We got a new coach, Doc Rivers, experience. This is great. A legend. We added some shooters around Joel Embiid, which is what you need around him. And it worked. They finished first in the Eastern Conference. This team was dominant. And then they lost in 7 games to the Atlanta Hawks in one of the most heartbreaking sports experiences I've ever had. Losing to the Raptors in Game 7 was heartbreaking. But this one was worse because they should have beaten the Hawks. The Raptors, it was like, dang, you just lost to a really good team, but it's okay. We did everything we could. The Hawks, it was not we did everything we could. It was we did nothing right and completely botched this in every way possible. They blew leads, and then obviously the infamous Ben Simmons passing the ball to Matisse Thybulle. We don't need to go too far into that. Matisse Thybulle was a very fun member of this team. Miss him. But this one's tough because the regular season was so great and awesome. And then that series against the Hawks just leaves such a sour taste in your mouth and really kills the overall vibe of this team, unfortunately. I'm going to put them at 4 right now just because that feels like a safe middle ground. It is literally the middle. And so I'm just going to do that for now, still subject to change. 2021, this might be the toughest team to rank because they added James Harden mid-season in the Ben Simmons trade. So this team was weird from the start because we were all out on Ben Simmons at this point. He had fully turned his back on us. We had turned our backs on him, which, quick aside on that, the city of Philadelphia defended Ben Simmons like no other for years. And then after what he did, or more accurately didn't do in the Hawks series, people had enough. And then he acted like Philadelphia didn't care about him at all. It's like, hey, we gave you so many chances, and this just happened to be the last straw. So I'm normally a very forgiving person. There's not a lot of athletes that I won't defend when it comes to their play and their effort, but Ben Simmons is not one of those. So this season was weird. There was the whole Ben Simmons drama the whole time, and then they trade for James Harden, and it was an improvement. It was great. They got James Harden and Joel Embiid, lethal pick and roll, but the team was still kind of gelling, mid-season blockbuster like that. They weren't really expected to win the championship, so they lost to the Heat in the semifinals, which just, it felt like they gave up at the end of that one. The Heat just wanted that series more, so that one, yeah, it was disappointing. I'll go 5 here, I think, because this team was just kind of tough to get a read on. But yeah, there was clearly promise here, and Tyrese Maxey was a fun young guy that we were like, oh, he was a steal. And then 2022, I really liked this team. I'm thinking I'm going to go 3 here because this team was fun. fun to watch. This was a full year of James Harden. They added PJ Tucker. Good addition. Tyrese Maxey is continuing to grow and improve. Joel Embiid, probably the best year of his career, wins MVP, dominant. So I think 3. I feel good about that. This is also when they hired Nick Nurse, I'm sorry, nope, that's the next year. This is they finished 3rd in the East this year, and with Embiid and Harden, they had the Celtics on the brink of elimination, up 3-2, and they proceeded to lose Game 6 and Game 7. And James Harden was incredible in 2 games this series. I believe he dropped 40 twice. One time, basically single-handedly, just took over a game. But then in Game 6 and 7 was atrocious. That Game 7 was demoralizing. Not quite the same as the Hawks Game 7, because they just got manhandled by the Celtics in this one, specifically by Jason Tatum. And it was just really painful. It was like a long, slow death in the Hawks one, because they were still kind of in it, and the Celtics just annihilated them in Game 7. So I don't know which is worse. They both sucked. But this team, before choking terribly to the Celtics, was fun. And then, obviously, everybody turned on Doc Rivers, and then James Harden was annoyed, and then we get into all of that. And next thing you know, it's 2023. This team is number 1 for me. I feel confident about that, because a specific conversation I remember me and Parker having before this season was that we had no expectations of this team, especially compared to previous years. We had multiple off seasons of hype, and they had never gotten past the semifinals. So this year, James Harden drama's happening, hired Nick Nurse. You're not sure what's going to happen with Harden, if they're going to be stuck with him, if they'll make a trade, what they'll get back. They eventually trade James Harden at the beginning of the season, and Tyrese Maxey steps in and is incredible. Everyone falls in love. We already loved Tyrese Maxey just because he was a cool guy, but he made people love him even more because he was an incredible basketball player. And, at the end of the day, that's what people actually really care about. You can be the nicest guy ever, and if you're not playing well, they will turn on you. So he was amazing. Huge breakout year for Tyrese Maxey. This team was fun because you had the Maxey breakout. They added Kelly Oubre, surprise addition, who was way more impactful than we ever could have expected. And they did not have an amazing regular season per se, because Joel Embiid was hurt. I believe he only played like half the games that year. So that was tough, but you saw these flashes. And it was a fun team with Oubre and Maxey. We're getting tired of Tobias Harris at this point, but like he's also just kind of there, and like he would have some good games every once in a while. You go back and forth on him. Adding Kyle Lowry was cool, Philly guy. Buddy Hield was another fun addition. There are just like a lot of fun pieces on this team, and when Embiid was on the floor, their highs were so high, and so that's why even though they were a 7 seed coming into the playoffs, there were actually some hopes, because at their best, fully healthy, they were dominant. They were an elite team. And then, of course, as we know, they lost to the Knicks in 6. Rough series. That it was of the playoff series losses, it wasn't the worst, because the Sixers did legitimately fight hard in a lot of those games. We saw Maxey continue to just show us that he can do amazing things, stepped up as a playoff performer, which is huge. So this is my favorite Sixers team, I think, that I've experienced, because it was just more fun. I don't know. It's hard to describe it. Even though Embiid was out, I think that it was impressive to see Maxey stepping up as the number 1 when Embiid was out. They didn't win a ton, but Maxey individually had to shoulder a lot of that workload, and he did very well for expectations. The surprise of Kelly Oubre being such a key piece was cool, and then the fact that they were so good when they were fully healthy, and just never really put it together. Plus, that Knicks series was that obviously not great. They lost in 6, but it wasn't the worst compared to some of the other series that they've had. It's not too bad. So, number 1. And then this year, we all know, finished 13th in the East. They added Paul George. Didn't go as well as everyone expected by a long shot. Season was over basically before it started. Not quite before it started, but like season was over a month into it starting. Injuries, basically barely even limped to the finish line. Now we're just hoping that they keep their draft pick and the Thunder don't get it. So this team, I think I like the idea of this team because Paul George as a wing was what they needed on paper. So the fit works. Tobias Harris isn't here anymore. We were just tired of him. Not helpful at all. You're able to bring back Oubre. Drafting Jared McCain, that's a huge boost for this team. Actually, now that I talked about Jared McCain, I think I'm going to drop 2021 to 6. And this 2024 team, I think I'm going to put at 5 because of Jared McCain. Just seeing him break out this year as a rookie in his short-lived rookie campaign would have won Rookie of the Year, surely. Unfortunately, did not because, just like everybody else for the Sixers this year, injuries. But Jared McCain joining this team, super exciting. Loved watching him play. So I think that bumps this team up a bit for me because I hate to say it, I still think this team can be good. If Paul George, obviously he was not good this year, if Paul George returns to a little bit of form, obviously there's not a ton of hope given what he did this year that he's going to really bounce back that much. But Joel Embiid, when he's healthy, that's obviously a question mark. It's just, it's going to be a tough year for the Sixers going into this year. They're going to have a lot to prove, mostly just health-wise, that George and Embiid can stay on the court. If everybody's on the court, they can be a good team. But who knows? You can't really predict injuries just with the Sixers. You can only assume that they will be injured at different points. So, of my fully developed and conscious Sixers fandom these 7 years, this is how I would rank these teams. I think that it's close between 2023 and 2018 for 1 and 2. I think I was more aware of I know I was much more aware of the Sixers in the 23-24 season than the 18-19 season. 18-19 was the first full year for me, so I didn't quite understand all the magnitude of the way the team was built, and I knew about the process obviously, but like I didn't really appreciate how guys got here and what different things meant. 2023 I think was more meaningful to me. So yeah, how would you guys rank these? And was this a fun video at all, or was this boring, or was the graphic too bland that I just kind of threw together? I don't know. Just give me your thoughts in the comments on whatever. And yeah, thank you for watching. I thought this was pretty fun. This is a nice exercise for me to do some reflection in the years and years of trauma of being a Sixers fan. All right, thanks for watching.